Like I said at the beginning, we're very pleased to be hosted by Rockland Township. And at this time, I'd like to recognize the chairman of the Rockland Township Board of Supervisors, David Wartson-Luft.
Good evening, everybody. My name is Dave Wartson-Luft, as Christian mentioned. I'd like to welcome everybody to Rockland Township tonight. We are a rural township in the county. We like to call ourselves very rural pro-ag. We have many very high-value streams and waterways that we like to protect. And however, it's getting a little bit more difficult to do that with the encroaching of more suburban and some of the traffic that we deal with on basis. We were incorporated in 1758. And as I said, on behalf of the residents, Vice Chairman Nate Olinger and Chairman Michelle Albright, I want to welcome you all to Rockland Township. Hopefully you've had an enjoyable drive here, and hopefully you'll have a good night here. And we'll come back and see us again.
Well, thank you very much for hosting us. And former Commissioner Kevin Barnhart was visiting Lancaster County several years ago and found out they did something like this, brought the idea back to the commissioners, and Michael and I both said, let's do it. It's a great idea. And it breaks things up, but it more importantly gives us an opportunity to be out in the community and host at least once a quarter a meeting in the evening. Now, understand, we have people here that are used to working during the day. They come out and set this up. I want to recognize our folks with our IS department. It's important, since we have a commitment to do meetings in a hybrid fashion. They were out here to determine whether we could do that or not and got everything set up. We really appreciate it, but we love being able to come to different parts of the county. And Rockland, in this area, a lot of beauty, and as you write, the exceptional quality streams in the area are quite significant. It's an important watershed as well. So thank you very much. Thank you to all three of the supervisors for being here. With that, we'll move on with our agenda. And at this time, I'll recognize my executive assistant, Anne Marie Grill, to read the public comment policy.
Thank you, Commissioner Leinbach. Public comment will be accepted in person and through the Q&A function. Please include your first name, last name, and municipality for all comments. Any comments without name and municipality will not be considered. Each citizen can submit one comment. Comment length is dictated by limitations of the platform being used: Teams Q&A, Facebook, and YouTube. In-person comments will be accepted first, followed by comments submitted virtually. The meeting comment period is limited to a total of 30 minutes, including both in-person and virtual comments. This time period may be extended at the discretion of the board. Please be concise. Comments that are germane to county business will be read during the meeting and should not be considered to be interactive dialogue with the commissioners. The county solicitor shall be the final arbiter of whether a comment is germane and should be read. Any commissioner response to public comment will be done at the discretion of the commissioners.
Thank you very much, Anne Marie. Is there any public comment on specific agenda items? Okay, no, we have an item for general comment. Thank you. At this time, we're going to do something a little bit different. We're going to embarrass one of our staff. Jess Weekneck. It's her birthday.
What we're going to sing.
We are. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday, dear Jess. Happy birthday to you. Jess Weekneck, for those that don't know, is our HR director, and she and her team do a great job for the county. Thank you for all you do. Our agenda, item 1, authorizing under that budget department, adopt, you know what I didn't do? Minutes. So, got it. I actually caught it. Are there any additions or corrections for the January 19th Commissioner meeting minutes? Hearing none, the minutes will stand approved as presented. We did have 2 executive sessions since our last meeting. On January 31st, dealing with litigation and personnel, and on February 1st, dealing with personnel, litigation, contract negotiations, and real estate. Now into the budget department. Adopt a resolution authorizing 2022 appropriations in the negative amount of $46,440 and 2023 budget transfers in the amount of $216,618 and 2023 appropriations in the amount of $3,023,344 per listing dated January the 27th of 2023. There are several items listed under Human Resources. Item 1, authorize the appointment of Daniel Page to Assistant District Attorney 4 in the District Attorney's Office. Item 2, authorize the appointment of David Huey Jr. to Office Support 3 in the jail system. Item 3, authorize the promotion of Rebecca Rigner from Conference Officer 2 to Order Establishment Manager in Domestic Relations. Item 4, authorize the promotion of Ann Norton from Elections Operations System Manager to Director of Election Services in Election Services. Item 5, authorize the transfer of Stephanie Weaver from Public Relations Officer in the Commissioner's Office to Assistant Director of Election Services in the Election Services. Item 6, authorize the transfer of Mohammed Sila from Application Specialist and Trainer to Enterprise Support Technician, Information Systems. Congratulations, Mohammed. He's right there in the back. Item B, under HR, adopt a resolution authorizing the execution of the collective bargaining agreement between Berks County and the Pennsylvania Social Service Union Local 668, Services Employee International Union, AFL-CIO, beginning January 1 of 2023 through December 31st of 2026. Several items listed under the Commissioners. Item A, adopt a resolution authorizing the chair and John Adams, District Attorney, to execute Savin maintenance and a service agreement between the Pennsylvania District Attorneys Institute and the County of Berks effective January 1 of 2023 through December 31st of 2023 to implement and use PA Savin system to meet and enhance its responsibilities for victim notification, as well as provide additional notification services to the county residents. Item B, adopt a resolution authorizing the chair to execute the proposal for environmental consulting services between Osmond Environmental Solutions, LLC of Harrisburg, PA, and the County of Berks for environmental services related to the cleanup of the former Exide Technology site in Laureldale, PA. Item C, adopt a resolution amending a prior resolution to reflect the correct amount of matching funds totaling $1,064,691 for the certification of county funds for the 2023 program year to the State Bureau of Farmland Preservation. Item D, adopt a resolution authorizing Jeffrey Smith, Warden, to execute any and all mutual aid agreements the County of Berks enters into to house Berks County inmates during emergency incidents, subject to the approval of terms and conditions by the Solicitor's Office. Item E, adopt a resolution hereby authorizing the chair to execute the Pennsylvania Commission on Crime and Delinquency subgrant award notification in the amount of $552,341 for the Berks County Gun Violence Project for the period of January 1, 2023 to December 31st of 2024. Item F, adopt a resolution authorizing the reappointment of Mitchell Darcourt, Wyomissing, Pennsylvania, as chairman of the Berks County Board of Assessment Appeals for a one-year term expiring December 31st of 2023. Item G, adopt a resolution authorizing the chair to execute a letter to the PA Department of Conservation and Natural Resources, Bureau of Recreation and Conservation, requesting a change to the original scope of work for the Grings Mill Trailhead Improvement Project. Item H, adopt a resolution authorizing the chair to execute a letter on behalf of the Berks County Planning Commission Comprehensive Greenway Park and Rec Plan Implementation Project, requesting an amendment to the agreement for additional funding in the amount of $9,212 to complete accessible kayak portages and other amenities at the Grings Mill, Red Bridge Recreation and Berks Leisure areas. Item I, adopt a resolution rescinding a prior resolution and hereby authorizing the appointment of Jessica Blauser as Deputy Chief Clerk and Brittany Frankowski as the Assistant to Deputy Chief Clerk, effective immediately. Item J, adopt a resolution authorizing the chair to execute a letter of support to the Federal Railroad Administration supporting the Schuylkill River Passenger Rail Authority's application for acceptance into the Corridor Identification Development Program. Letter K, adopt a resolution authorizing EH&D, Berks County's insurance broker, to place coverage for the public officials' crime policy effective January 1 of 2023. Item L, adopt a resolution authorizing the execution of the Juvenile Probation Services Grant Agreement documents between the Commonwealth of Pennsylvania through the Juvenile Court Judges Commission of the Office of General Counsel and Berks County for fiscal year 2022 through 2023 in the award amount of $478,868. Item M, adopt a resolution authorizing the execution of a letter to Juvenile Court Judges Commission to advise of equitable compensation being provided to juvenile probation personnel in Berks County. And item N, adopt a resolution authorizing the execution of the title page of the drawings for construction as prepared by professional engineers with WSP USA Inc. pertaining to the Peachtree Bridge replacement project over the Ironstone Creek in the borough of Kutztown, Berks County, Pennsylvania. Item 2, a motion to authorize execution of contract agreements and amendments as set forth on the attached listing dated January the 30th of 2023. There are a total of 10 contracts, 1 with the Area Agency on Aging, 3 with Children and Youth Services, 1 with the Department of Emergency Services, 1 with Human Resources, 1 with the MDJ's office, 2 with Information Systems, and 1 with Parks and Rec. And then item 3, a motion to authorize execution of the payments and electronic transfers is set forth on the Controller's Office voucher listing dated February the 2nd of 2023.
Motion to approve the agenda is presented.
I will second that motion. The motion has been made and seconded. Is there any discussion? All those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed? The motion is carried. We'll move now to Treasurers and Controllers report. The Treasurer is not available. I do have the report. The general account total is $209,386,193.44. There's a balance to clear of $3,558,826.71, leaving a balance of $205,827,366.73. And with that, we'll move to our County Controller, Sandy Graffius, with the Controller's Report. Sandy.
Good evening.
Good
Looks like
evening.
you and I just went through the war. Hold up your hand.
Yes, we have. Same hand, too.
We have 2 reports tonight. From the 26th of January, we had total accounts payable of $25,088,199.86. We had some payroll processing to do. We had an EIT payment of $335,471.22, LST $10,153.60, a payroll of $4,353,999.60, $911,554.20 for a grand total of $30,345,378.80. That would be the 26th, and by resolution, we were able to go ahead and pay those things because the chief clerk went ahead and okayed everything.
Chief
Now,
Operations Officer.
excuse me, the CAO.
That's
Pardon
okay.
me, I just changed Ron's.
That's
Sorry
okay.
about that. Sorry, Ron. Okay, now then, for February the 2nd, we have total accounts payable of $9,455,131.19. We had a payroll total of all total of all payments. I'm really blowing this. $4,911,554.20. Thank goodness I'm finished because I really screwed that up.
Not a problem, Sandy. Thank you very much. And we'll move now to Kevin Barnhart, our Chief Operations Officer, and you can share it however you see fit.
I'm going to defer my initial comments to Ron Seaman.
Go right ahead.
Emeritus.
Well, first of all, thank you for hosting us here this evening. It afforded me an opportunity, along with our solicitor, to treat our HR director to a delicious dinner at Snuzzles, which I haven't been to for quite a while. But more importantly, this is a neat area of the county. Coming from Kempton, of course, being a Kutztown High graduate, was a little bit at odds with Brandywine back in the day, but we'll forget about
I
that.
was puts down Brad, but no, Brandywine.
Very good. I'd like to try and present activities in our Parks Department at our meetings. Unfortunately, coming out of the winter months as we are right now, there are doing some programming, but it's sparse. And the closest event we have is this Saturday from 9 a.m. to 10 a.m. There's a winter wellness walk along the Union Canal Trail. There's a free registration, free program, but pre-registration is required. So if you're interested, it's an interpretive walk. Contact our Berks County Parks Department, register, and have a nice brisk walk. With that, as indicated, I am, after about 30 and a half years, submitting my resignation for retirement effective April the 11th, 68 days from now. Not that I'm counting, but when I set my retirement date, I was not aware that that was the opening night for the Reading Phillies. And as I come into work every morning, I look over the marquee and it says 69 days, 68 days till opening night. So I have my countdown right there for me. But I would like to introduce my successors, very capable individuals who will do a good job for the citizens of Berks County. The Chief Operations Officer, Kevin Barnhart, and the Deputy Chief Operations Officer, Larry Medaglia.
Thank you, Ron. So I too want to thank you for your hospitality and the beauty of your township. It's amazing, the pristine area that you live in and serve. I want to thank also the Board of Commissioners, and especially Ron, for our first month at the helm. It's been an exciting 30 days, and we look forward to many, many more. As well as I want to thank the board for appointing Jesse Blauser as Deputy Chief Clerk and just Britt Frankowski as Assistant Deputy Chief Clerk. That will support Carmen Torres in her efforts when she's unavailable. And both Jess Blauser works for me and Brittany Frankowski works for Larry Medaglia. So thank you for that. We're building a team, and one person at a time. It's really getting stronger every day. So thank you.
Thank you, Kevin. And as well to the commissioners, it's been an exciting and truthfully fun first month. Kevin and I had stopped on our way out and both said, it's exhilarating. It really is. The information comes at you fast and furious, and we're enjoying every minute of it. And I think the team that is in place now, we're excited about what we're doing. And I appreciate especially the warm welcome that I've received from so many of the department heads and the deputies in those departments, and folks have just been terrific. So I'm as excited as I could possibly be, and I'm really enjoying working with Kevin. Thank you.
Thank you very much. We'll move now to commissioners' comments, and we'll begin with Commissioner Michael Rivera.
Thank you, Commissioner Lineback. A few comments here. I want to thank Rockland Township and the Board of Supervisors for having us here tonight. Because we had better weather this time around than we had the last time. I also want to thank the people that are here tonight and the staff that also is here tonight and help put this together. Because if you look in the back, it's not just us sitting here with our laptops. There's a whole bunch that goes on there by our IS team to make sure that everything is running smoothly here and that people can watch us here tonight. Few things, just want to let everyone know, last week we did not have a meeting because both Commissioner Lineback and I were at the County Commissioners Association of Pennsylvania annual board retreat. Both of us, and Kevin, when he was a commissioner, he was also part of that board. That's the Commissioners Association of Pennsylvania. And it was last week, Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday. And on Wednesday, we had the opportunity to go to the Capitol in Harrisburg and meet with senior staff and legislators, as well as have a press conference indicating what the new 2023 priorities are for the County Commissioners Association of Pennsylvania. So I want to go through them briefly. These were mentioned in the Capitol Rotunda where we had the press release. And the 6 categories are 911 funding and reauthorization, county inmates with mental health issues. This is something that we've spoken about for a while. County mental health base funding increase, understanding that there has been no increase in base funding for the last 10 years in Pennsylvania. And if you look at that, there's been no increase. Basically, there's been a decrease because as costs go up, you keep the same funding, you have less money to use for programs. The next is address the needs of children and youth who have complex behavioral health issues. So 3 items dealing with mental health. The 5th was broadband access and development, and the last is promote election integrity. And these priorities come from the counties who vote on them, so it's not something that the CCAP staff puts together, but it's based on the needs of the counties who go at our annual meeting, and we have different committees that meet. Each committee sets what their priorities are, and then the body as a whole votes on what the priorities for the association will be for that year. And then we had our meetings on Thursday and Friday preparing for this upcoming year. Numbers from our Veterans Affairs Office. I just want to share some of these because we do a great job here in Berks County. In Berks County, we're honored to be home of an estimated 21,229 veterans living here in Berks County. So that's about 3% of the state's total. We're proud to announce that included in the Pennsylvania Department of Military and Veterans Affairs fiscal report for last year, Berks County ranked number 1 among the 67 counties across the state with the highest benefit awards volume of $3,138,000 as it pertains to monthly and retroactive compensation, pension, survivor pension, and dependency and indemnity compensation payments awarded to our veterans and their dependents living in Berks County. During the same period, our office completed a total of 1,762 new forms that were submitted into the VA on behalf of our claimants. And these numbers are not the only indicator we use to show our office's volume and production, but instead it is only a few metrics we use to show the dedication and effort put forth by the entire team to serve the veterans of Berks County to the best of our ability. So kudos and great job to the Berks County VA office for the work that they do supporting the veterans here in Berks County. And one last item, I want to congratulate Ann Norton and Stephanie Weaver for their new positions within the Department of Elections. And also want to thank them as well as Sylvia for their leadership that they've had in the past month that we have been without a director or an assistant director. So we're excited that they are stepping into these new positions and are looking forward to their leadership within those positions. And that's all I have. Back to you.
Thank you very much, Commissioner Rivera. Three quick items. I thought based on a phone call I think you had today, an individual called from a township, did not identify themselves, I think potentially a supervisor, wanted to know how many commissioners are there right now. And Anne Marie said 2. And he said, why is it taking so long? We have to, and I believe this is true in the municipal code, you have to replace somebody within 30 days. And we explained because in the county code, county commissioners don't have the authority to replace that. That is done in the county code through the courts. And so the president judge, along with the judges, accepted applications up until 5 o'clock on January the 20th. They received approximately 22 applications. I've not seen the applications. They cut that list down to based on review, and they're interviewing them, as I understand from the president judge, Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday of next week. And hopefully by the end of next week, we will know who the Democrat appointee will be. I can't really tell you anything beyond that, but I thought based on the call, there are probably a lot of people that wonder, what in the world are those commissioners waiting for? Well, it's not up to the commissioners. And the president judge is a brand new president judge, just took that position at the beginning of the year, and it is, I'm confident, under control. The second thing I wanted to touch on, I also want to offer my congratulations to Ann Norton and to Stephanie Weaver. They have been a significant part of the team in elections. They've done a very good job. Stephanie Weaver really stepping in about 2 years ago and helping out, even though she is or was the public relations officer. Ann Norton and Sylvia Gutierrez have been the internal lead working with Commissioner, at the time, Commissioner Barnhart. But Ann, I'm very excited about Ann stepping up, Stephanie stepping into the deputy position, and Commissioner, there I did again, former Commissioner Kevin Barnhart.
Interviews Tuesday morning.
Kevin Barnhart and also Larry also have made the elections department a real priority, making sure they have the support. We've also approved this morning in our salary board meeting an additional administrative assistant position that we needed for some time in that office. The last thing I want to touch on is giving an update on the airport. Last year, many of you are aware that the county reorganized the airport leadership. For decades, the airport authority has been governed by a 7-member board appointed by the county commissioners. About June of 2021, the authority board unanimously recommended to the Board of Commissioners that we consider dissolving the authority and making the airport a direct report department. Beginning of last year, we hired a consultant and legal counsel to investigate what made the most sense relative to governance of the airport. And the recommendation came back that there was no need to dissolve the authority, but to fundamentally change the way it is governed. And so what took place last November is all of the members, the 7 members, resigned en masse. The Board of Commissioners had to accept that resignation. We then appointed 4 of us to fill 4 slots. That was the 3 commissioners, and at the time, Ron Seaman is the chief operations officer. We then, later in the year, passed amendments to the bylaws, and Going forward, we've dropped the number of members from 7 to 5. And those 5 positions are not just appointees by the commissioners. They are named specific positions in county government. So the 5 positions in the bylaws going forward are the 3 sitting commissioners, the chief operations officer or his equivalent, and the director of community and economic development or his equivalent. What that means is the county is much more directly involved in the day-to-day operations, but we didn't have to go through the significant cost and time of dissolving an authority. Townships, if you've ever looked at dissolving an authority, it's a long and somewhat expensive process. There's no need to do that. We also went from meeting once a month to twice a month, so we could be more responsive to the tenants and more responsive to the opportunities. We also formed, for the first time, an airport tenant advisory committee, so that every tenant, whether they're an aviation tenant or a non-aviation tenant, now are able to be part of an advisory committee. And the second, I believe I'm right, the second meeting of the month, which is the 3rd Tuesday of the month, that airport meeting has a special slot in it where we have discussions with the airport tenant advisory committee. They let us know, what are we doing well? What are we not doing well? What recommendations do they have? They aren't a governance body. They can't dictate to the county. But we felt and we heard from many of the tenants, they just didn't feel like they had a formal voice or a formal role. As of our last meeting, the 3rd week in January, the number of the tenant members asked if they can organize and actually meet apart from our meetings so they can be better prepared in presenting. And we said, absolutely, it's your committee. The final thing I wanted to highlight is some of the opportunities that have come forward since these changes have taken place. One, we had a nationally recognized organization, fixed base operator, AvFlight, present at, I believe it was our November meeting, either November or December. They are looking at the possibility of buying the 2 FBOs that are currently there, merging them into one, and making it a much stronger fixed-based operation. What that means is they sell fuel, aviation fuel. They also provide support for pilots flying in and out. But this particular group also does under-the-wing service for airlines, so baggage handling and other things. And you'll see why that's important in a minute. That's something we don't currently have the ability to do if commercial air traffic came back. So AvFly has told us they hope to have a decision of whether they have a deal or not by March of this year. We also, I have been involved, not in discussions, but received a call and waiting to sit down with an MRO. An MRO is a maintenance repair operation. Believe it or not, there is no maintenance repair operation currently at the airport. And a maintenance repair operation normally is tied to 1 or 2 specific type of aircraft, and it attracts aircraft from all over the Northeast, or even in many cases, this case, it would attract aircraft from the East Coast to come to Reading in order to get service. So we're looking at that. Last week, myself, our solicitor, and our airport manager met with a company that is interested in introducing the return of commercial air service. It would start, if it happens, initially with 3 flights a week between Orlando and Reading. The firm already has a base in another eastern, if I tell you where it is, you'll be able to figure out who it is, but they're based in a similar size airport in the eastern United States. They started that operation 2 years ago, and they currently are flying to approximately 30 different places on the East Coast. It's a unique model. We're talking to them. The last item, and you might say that's all interesting, that's aviation. The last item involves the wastewater treatment plant. And we actually had a meeting today. The airport has a large wastewater treatment plant that actually generates in excess of $3 million, if you want to call it profit, but annual revenue after expenses. And the two major customers beyond the airport, airport customers that would pay for that, are St. Joe's Hospital and the Bern Township Municipal Authority. And we're looking at the future of that, making sure that we're using that in the highest and best use from a financial and fiscal responsibility standpoint. So that's a little bit of an update on the airport. We are excited as things are beginning to move forward, and we're hearing very good things from our tenants. I can tell you they will be doing the World War II weekend again. That is the largest event of its kind in the United States. It's a combination of reenactment on the ground, but also a combination of static and flying aviation from World War II. It is absolutely incredible. Depending on the weather, that brings out anywhere from 30 to 50,000 people over the 3 days. We are hoping in September or October to bring back Aerofest. Remember, we used to have air shows at the airport for several decades. Those went away. We won't likely see the Blue Angels because of the St. Joseph's Hospital has changed what type of flight pattern can be flown in aerobatics. But we are working to do a combination aviation career fair, which was done this past year, led by the Reading Aero Club. It was very successful, along with Aerofest, with smaller acrobatics, displays, and a number of other things. You'll hopefully see something on that in the next month or two as we begin to promote that. So a lot going on at the Reading Regional Airport. That is all that I have. Any public comment from row officers? Seeing none, public comment, and is there any public comment? Nothing online? Okay, we do have one person present, and we'll recognize, and if they can come over here, Michelle Albright, Rockland Township, topic of traffic, and you have 3 minutes. You're supervisor though.
Yeah, I know. Don't like it.
So you can go over. I mean, we normally, when we host this, we give the township as much time as you want. And as I thought, supervisor, say what you need to say.
Okay. Well, thank you. Thank you for being here this evening. I kind of wish that you had come here around 2:30 in the afternoon, or if I can talk long enough beyond my 3 or 5 minutes, I'll keep you here long enough till 10:20, which means you'll experience shift change. Okay.
East Penn? East Penn?
So my actual request, I know that there's a RATS committee. And if perhaps.
And what the RATS committee is the Reading Area Technical Study.
Yeah.
And whoever came up with that acronym, well, I don't know what to say.
Yeah.
RATS.
I know. And thank you for repeating what the acronym is because I could never remember it.
That's okay.
But my request is that our commissioners actually bring up to PennDOT recognition of the traffic that we deal with. And it's not just Rockland Township, but it's the surrounding townships as well, such as Rusco Manor. We are facing at certain times of the day, which we'll call it shift change, a surge in traffic use. Great if we had 2-lane highways, but we don't. We're a rural ag community, so we only have the 1-lane roads. And at certain times of the day, we all, as residents of this township, deal with the tailgaters. the speeding, people cutting us off, and it's become a dangerous road. Citizens of this township no longer ride their bicycles on the road or take their children out for walks at certain times of the day because it's shift change. I personally have almost been hit several times while I was trying to do some walks.
Is 12 the worst price
No,
down?
actually, well, there's, it's,
662.
they try, East Penn tries to do staggered shift chains in order to alleviate the traffic. And I don't blame East Penn. I welcome them. I'm glad that they're here. I'm happy that they're growing. They can't help as a entity. They can't help what their employees do behind the wheel. But it's an issue. And what I find as well as people who live here typically don't speak up. I think that happens in a lot of places. People are afraid to speak up because there have been instances where there are repercussions where someone finds out somebody complained about something and next thing you know, someone's driving by and throwing out bottles of something out the window onto their property. It's silly stuff, but it does happen. So my request is, would our commissioners, when you're having your RATS meetings with PennDOT, to please bring this issue up as a focus for all the townships in the surrounding area. I have sat in on some of the RATS meetings, and I've recognized that PennDOT works with algorithms. And they recognize the amount of people who work in townships and the amount of people who come to townships to work or exit their townships. They do not recognize East Penn. There is somewhere, and it fluctuates on a yearly basis, how many employees are at East Penn. I thought it was already up to 10,000 employees.
It's 8 roughly.
Yeah, okay. They don't recognize that. They recognize that the Lionsboro and other areas in where East Penn is only have 200 people who work in that township. I'm going, how's that possible? Have you included East Penn in your calculations? And when you have to sit at traffic signals at 3 o'clock in the afternoon and you can't get through the traffic signal because someone's making a left-hand turn, it's an obvious amount of traffic. And again, I'm going to say, could please the commissioners, when you're dealing with your RATS meetings, bring that awareness up to PennDOT, because PennDOT does not recognize it. I have tried to say, personally, I have tried to say something, and they just basically said, nope, this is what the algorithm calculates, and that's the way it is. I went, well, unless you sit at that traffic signal at 3 o'clock in the afternoon, your algorithm doesn't hold water. So I would really appreciate your assistance on this, because we citizens have gotten nowhere.
So what traffic signal is that you're speaking
The
about?
one I'm speaking of specifically is, if you're coming in, I'm thinking in my head, it's Park Road and 73. If you can think of where that is, I don't know if you're familiar, there's like a Turkey Hill there and some residents there. There is no advanced traffic signal. So if someone has to make a left-hand turn in any direction, there is a lineup of traffic, like 50, 100 cars deep, going all the way back to the mushroom houses, if you can picture it.
I can.
Yeah. I do want to say that this all started popping up, and I want to say around 2019. And that was when Fleetwood was just shut down. We have 2 traffic signals in Fleetwood, which is Franklin and Richmond. And we were shut down because we had all the roads redone.
Right.
So in essence, all the traffic was finding different routes.
And some of them stayed on the different routes.
Exactly. And quite honestly, once you get into the country, because we really aren't monitored by police, it's just state police that comes out to our township.
There's not enough.
It is a free-for-all if someone has a certain car and they just want to rip up the road, and they do. So if I can keep talking, I've got about another 2.5 hours until.
Well, let's stick with this. I'm involved with a group right now that's been meeting, and we are already working on some solutions on the 183 corridor from almost the Wawa in Bern Township, by the Bern Township building, all the way up to 78. And then in Bernville, the Bernville-Charlottesville Road at the elementary school there on 183. Very similar issues. outside of the Burnville Borough Police, and they do some coverage. It's mostly state police, very serious issues, largely tied to the warehouses and shift changes. And there have been multiple accidents because 183 is probably even, not probably, it's even more dangerous. It's, one lane each direction. There's no plan to expand it to a multi-lane. We started with a meeting, and this sounds scary, at least from a standpoint of a public official, at the Burnville Elementary School with 150 people from the public. And PennDOT was there. I was there. You were there in the beginning. We had people from our planning department. And I will tell you, it was one of the most well-run meetings I've ever attended. Multiple people got up, shared what their concerns were. Since then, we've had 2 additional meetings. We prioritized the problem areas. We have 4 primary areas. We know what the number 1 area is, and then we've begun to identify solutions. And solutions can range from a traffic circle to a traffic light to speed signs to blinking speed signs. There's discussions around enforcement. It's difficult when you don't have local police because there are limitations. However, the state police, because they are part of this, have started to focus some more attention on these 4 areas that are, everyone agrees, even though they are pretty much in 2 municipalities. We have like 5 municipalities involved, but everyone agreed. If you want to talk about the most serious, these are the areas. My suggestion is I'm willing to do the same thing here, working with our planning, but it would be helpful if you decided what other municipalities are impacted and pull the group together. We will meet and do the same thing, identify the arteries. If every road is a priority, then there are no priorities. We've got to figure out what are the most serious areas and then what is easy to do, what may take legislative action to do, where costs are involved. But one of the issues that's going to continue to come up is figuring out local policing. And I'm not saying this is the only answer, but I can tell you with certainty, most municipalities cannot afford their own police department. It will break the bank. The only thing that makes sense outside of state police is to be done very carefully. People have to understand, the municipalities need to understand what the agreement is, what the authority is in place, and then enforce it. One of the things you will find, and I've found this already up in that area, the assumption is that the violators are these nameless people from someplace else. They're going to be some of your own neighbors. And I shouldn't smile because the one case I know about, a person almost died on the Burnville-Charlottesville Road, and she's local. You would think she would know you can't go. I think she was going close to 70 on the Burnville-Charlottesville Road. And if you know near Lonesome Valley, if you know it goes like that, it's crazy. But enforcement is a critical piece. Absolutely glad to meet. And PennDOT has been very open to that approach. Because when you do that, even though you may not have an algorithm, you are able to document with the help of the planning department, here's the traffic counts that we have on these roads. If we don't, we're looking at one of the areas to do an additional traffic study.
I will share with you that in 2021, we did bring together several townships. We brought together, besides our own, Ruskin Manor, Alsace, Pike, I think it was, and we tried forming an alliance with all of them that if we work together and we actually go to East Penn and speak with East Penn to say, this is what we are aware of. Are you aware of this as well? And if you're not, let us help you become aware of this. Because obviously the management goes to work at a different time and they actually may
not experience it.
Exactly. They
Yeah.
don't experience it. So we did try that. We brought in also the Fleetwood Borough and the Fleetwood Chief of Police. And we have tried to call the commissioner's office because we thought that if we had recognition from a power higher up.
And that's
being the
our
commissioner's
role.
office, right. We didn't get a call back.
Who'd you call? Oh, well, I shouldn't have put you on the spot.
That's okay.
That's
Sorry.
okay.
But, and then we even tried working with state senators, Senator Mensch.
Well, we're
try to
in a
get-
better spot. We have in our planning department, Alan Piper, his job, he's a traffic planner. He is very, anyone that's met him, he's very matter of fact. He doesn't get high, he doesn't get low. He just, here are the facts. What do we need? And we would be glad to be a convener of the stakeholders. Yes, East Penn has a role,
Yeah.
but this is really comes down to looking at traffic, looking at what can address that traffic from a physical standpoint. Is it signage? Is it a four-way stop? Is it, what is it? And enforcement.
And correct. And the gentleman's name that you just brought up, I recognize the name because I was involved with some on the phone meetings.
Okay.
Nobody was meeting in person still at
Okay.
that time because of the virus.
Yep.
But when I brought up, like, please do not look at algorithms. Please, you need to listen to people because this concern is there. PennDOT basically said, well, we really don't think there was a problem, and he agreed with them. So I just want you to know
We'll
that
work-
I've tried avenues.
And I appreciate that.
Yeah.
We'll work with you.
Thank you.
I mean, we're on the record.
Yes.
We'll reach out, we can help make that happen. But what we'll do, we'll help do the legwork so that when we get together, we have a meaningful meeting. And our goal is every meeting, what's the next step? I don't want to go to a meeting, have a meeting and everybody feels good and we leave and nothing changes. So we'll try to do what we can, but let's talk.
So you're gonna call me?
If you can reach out to Anne Marie, she'll get the information and we'll work on putting something together.
Thank you.
Absolutely.
Sorry, I went over my 3 minutes.
No, I'm serious. You're hosting us. We're in your township building and we appreciate it. That's why we like to highlight.
And as I said, you're welcome to stay till 10:20.
I think I'll pass.
Okay.
Okay. So,
Thank you.
thank you. Anything for the good of the order?
Motion to adjourn.
The meeting stands adjourned. Thank you very much.